Open wide for some soccer!
Happy March, everybody! It's the Canada Kop here in Halifax, Nova Scotia, recording March 1st. Brand new month, man. And I am here with John DeLong and not Ben Deutsch. Aww. Missed out this weekend. Apparently he's having a makeup weekend for Valentine's Day, was it?
More like make out.
Hey! Oh, all right. Yes, because we're 15 years old, apparently.
Hey.
It is March, though, and it is a great way to start the month, I guess. What about March, John? Is March like a good month for you? Where does March rank in your power ranking of months of the year?
Well, I mean, this time last year I was unemployed and spending a lot of time on my couch.
Good March.
It was a good March looking back on it. In the moment, it was pretty depressing.
You here, right?
But what I do have to say is, Mark Zuckerberg, you coward, give me my February 29th memories.
Oh, yes. Well, actually, you know what? I don't want that February 29th memory because that was the last game we had before the shutdown last year, and then everything just kind of went to hell. So, who knows? Maybe this March 1st is the turnaround time, and we're going to get to that because, hey, we can talk about a win, John.
What's that?
A Premier League win.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. What?
It's kind of weird, man. Yeah.
Like I'm still confused. Like, when did we start conceding goals? Like, the last I checked, the game was 2-0,
and it finished that way.
I don't get it.
Just let it sink in.
I'm
Just
scared.
let it come over you and enjoy it.
JP, I'm scared.
Don't be scared, because I think, and we'll get to this, I think this is a good sign. It was a great game to watch, pretty lively. Yes, it was Sheffield, but hey, we'll take what we can get there. And we got some other stuff to get to as well. We'll chime in to the rest of the league, talk quickly maybe about Champions League, because we play next week. Get around for that. Maybe a little touch on the Europa League, possibly. Injuries. Hey, man, Jota might be back. He might be back.
2 weeks.
Oh, another 2 weeks, is it? Oh, we keep hearing that too much. Got a bunch of different new debate points and how the league's going to wrap up leading up to the end of the season.
And just before we get into all of that stuff, I just want to do the shameless plug at the top of the episode again. If you're listening to this and you enjoy what we do, please tell your friends. Please rate and review us. Please share us amongst your social circles. We don't pay to advertise this, quite frankly. The only way that we get listeners is if you go ahead and hit that subscribe button on your podcast platform of choice. If you recommend us to your friends, that's how we get more listeners, and we really appreciate every single one of you who does anything like that.
And hopefully you guys appreciate us, because we love chatting about this stuff, and hopefully you guys like rambling about it and yelling at us over your radio as well. Yeah. Easy layups there for me.
Every time.
Easy way to get a laugh.
Just gets me smiling.
It's so easy to make John smile here. So we got lots to get to. I think we got a long episode, and we'll pretend we're Ben every so often and see if we can predict what he would say.
Pipe band.
There you go. And we're going to kick her off with a 2-0 victory over last place, Sheffield United. And I got to say, man, like, yes, last place. Yes, we should win that game. Yes, it should be an easy win, expected win. But forget the fact that we actually won. It was a great setup, a great attacking, great team play victory. It was, especially that first half. I got quite excited with the way it was going, even though it was a 0-0, a 0-0 first half. It felt very promising. You with me on that, John?
Absolutely. I mean, Sheffield, yes, is looking like a historically bad Premier League side, and that can't be undersold. Like they're not good. They're big bad. To coin a phrase that makes me think of our dearly departed Ben Deutsch, but
departed, man. He'll be back next week. Don't worry.
He's dead to me. But what we've seen lately is that no points in this league are guaranteed for Liverpool. That's just the way that things are.
Definitely.
We could have looked at that first half and seen Ramsdale having the game of his life against us, so like channeling his inner Gigi Buffon. And like we have seen situations in the past. I think back to Nick Pope, where we see that and we let our heads drop. But like this Liverpool side in that game did not do that. Instead, they decided to say, no, we're the better side. Fuck these guys. We're going to go out there and we're going to be 2019 Liverpool again. We're going to go out there and we're going to score 2 goals in the second half. We're going to overwhelm them. We're going to just simply be better on the ball than them. And we're going to take advantage of our shots. And it's just a beautiful thing. And I absolutely loved watching every second of it.
Dropping the F-bombs already, man. Jeez.
I'm wound up.
Usually I'll wait for you crack a few other cans before we get to that. But no, I got to agree. I could not believe Ramsdale, man. Like he's a young keeper, and those 4 or 5 saves he had, I don't want to say anywhere like, holy crap, no keeper would ever save that, but they were they were solid, excellent saves. I'll give him full credit on that. One Bobby had in close where he drilled it and he got his right hand up on it. I think Bobby in top form would have just chipped him instead of blasting it in, trying to blast it in, I should say. But man, he stepped up and did great. So you can't really fault him. And even Bobby's goal, or the own goal in the second half, he could do nothing on that. And it ended up being a very lively and entertaining attack. It wasn't a ticky-tacky possession holding everything up moving forward. It was direct, let's go to goal. But let's go into the game a little more, because one thing I've been preaching for the past weeks, months, whatever the case is we're missing so many key players and key positions. We've got to change the way we're playing. We lined up with a 4-3-3, but it definitely didn't feel like a proper 4-3-3. I felt like Thiago and Gini were holding deeper, so it was almost like a 4-2-1-3 or 4-2-3-1 maybe, because Jones was playing high. He was attacking a bit, and man of the match, rightly so. I honorable mention to Ramsdale. I could easily give him man of the match for that first half, but Jones was everywhere. And then that strike was great, but it definitely didn't look the same. So do you think this was Klopp saying, let's change the formation, or do you think it was more the players just taking more onus, saying, let's get at this more, let's show some more intensity?
I think it was less about a change of formation and more of a change of priorities for individual positions, because if you look at the way that our shape was in terms of how we were sort of naturally going back, it still was a 4-3-3. Now, you did see some areas of the pitch where things were a little bit different. A lot has been made about like Trent was starting from a much deeper position, and Robbo was starting from much more advanced.
He was
position.
hanging out real high.
Yeah. So at times it almost looked like we were playing, certainly in defense, it looks like we were playing 3 at the back.
Almost 3 at the back with no left back.
It was kind of a strange scenario. You definitely had a situation where like Curtis was given sort of license to be, okay, go out there and be the player that you were for the under 23s. Like take this game by the scruff of the neck and win it for yourself, and play as that sort of, honestly, like you don't want to damn a player with expectations like this, but like kind of playing in sort of a Stevie G kind of mold of just like, you're going to tick, this game's going to tick through you. You had Bobby playing a little bit more withdrawn, which I think is his best sort of position. He's plays as a false 9. I think the 9 on the back of his jersey is the biggest problem that Bobby Firmino has. Is that people expect him to be a number 9 in this team when really he's a 10. He's like a 10.5, right? Where he's like kind of plays.
I think everybody knows that now.
Yeah. Kind of plays as a false 9, but like really he's a 10, and his best performances are when he plays attacking midfield. And in this case, he kind of had Curtis kind of playing off of him, and it was what it was. And then you had our attacking players, Mane and Salah, playing out wide, which is the best place for them because they're able to cut in and do really interesting things with the ball as a result. Honestly, both of them had shots that should have been goals were it not for Ramsdale having, again, performance of his life. And it was just a really like encouraging performance all over the pitch.
Yeah, and it was great to see the movement forward. And what has been pissing me off and bogging me down is our 70-80% possession with just no attacking and no shots. And we had 5 or 6 shots on goal in the first half. And those are proper shots. I don't remember the last time we had a game where we had that many great opportunities, granted, against the last place Sheffield. But I feel like if we play that way against Chelsea this week, or any team, you will create a lot more opportunities.
Well, the last time that we played like this was against Crystal Palace. Like, straight up, and we won that game, 7-0. Like, it was.
I don't want to say that's how we played against Palace. I think Palace might have been a perfect storm where we just kind of caught everybody off guard, and it was just clicking all the right ways. Same way that Villa beat us 7-2. So, I mean, come on, I'll tit for tat. I don't want to credit that game just to that playing, but I think the mentality was definitely different this game, and it made it very obvious. Second half was little less lively, but nonetheless, that's where we created the opportunities. And Lord knows I give Trent enough flack here. I still love him, still want to keep him, never want to get rid of him. But I'll be the loudest critic, but I'll also be the loudest supporter, because he tracked that ball down. We were all worrying, like, oh. And people complain about VAR, and a guy in the pub was just like, oh, no, VAR. It's like, well, we got to celebrate twice. Because once, we got it, and second, when VAR showed it, and surprisingly, it was solid, about half the ball was still in play.
Yeah, that was our goal against City being called off levels of on the line. But it was a really, really great, like, solid, the kind of game-saving, kind of game-running sort of play that you have come to expect from Trent Alexander-Arnold. You know, it's kind of like we spend time like criticizing the guy and being down on him because he has these moments in him. You know what I mean? Like, these game-changing, beautiful moments of football where, like,
it definitely was a little dragged out play, but phenomenal play. Great finish by Curtis off a deflection off the cross from Trent. But hey, full credit to both of them for tracking that down and earning it. So I hope Trent's gone back to form now, because, man, I want to see him continue to excel. And hey, who knows where he's going to end up with this team there.
Speaking of back to form, Bobby Firmino. I feel he was robbed of a goal. You know, it ends up being called an own goal, but to me, that is Bobby Firmino's goal all day long.
He did strike it. It was his shot, but if you watch the angle coming off the foot, it was going way wide.
I don't know if it was going wide. I think yes. Ramsdale had it, but
no. It was we were watching in the pub and we're like, oh, own goal, what? And then they showed the replay, and it looked like it was going substantially wide. Nonetheless, I mean, who cares? It's a goal's a goal. It's not on the stat sheet for him, but we know he created it. So, give it to him.
It's a beautiful thing that we see with Bobby, and like, I think it's kind of an interesting sort of situation with him, where like he misses that almost sitter. He was in by himself, and Ramsdale was able to get himself big enough and get a leg out to kick it off in the first half. But then Bobby comes back in the second half. And he's got like 5 players around him, and he's able to chip in the ball that, like, own goal or not, like, ends up in the back of the net. Like, he's marked by like 6 different players, and he manages to have that moment of brilliance. Like, that's the Bobby Firmino that I've come to love over the years. Like, and it's that kind of play where it's just like, if you're not necessarily expecting him to, like, I think I said even at the moment where he didn't make that shot, like, Bobby can't finish a sandwich these days. It's just a matter of, like, you put Bobby Firmino in the positions where he's bound to succeed, and he will succeed.
Well, and I agree. I'm still a big supporter of him. Other people are calling for his head and saying, all right, he's done. He's on his way out, Ben Deutsch. And a few, I think that's harsh. And we'll get to a couple quotes a little later about how important he is to the team. But we'll touch base a little more on that. On the other side, Mane, man, he just looked off his game. His touches were off. His runs were a little all over the place. I'm not want to overly criticize him, but he just didn't look. It wasn't his game.
I think he was playing. It's hard to criticize a player in a game where we win 2-0. for not having as much influence on the game when he's kind of put himself into a position where he doesn't have as much influence. I think there were a couple of positions in the game. I think in the first half, one of the first big chances that we had, if Mo had slid the pass over to him, he has an open net, and like an open net that
I know exactly what you're talking about, and it was Mane and somebody else were open over there, and it was on